Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wrestlemania edition of the Let's Talk Thursdays podcast. My name is Brendan Plays, and yes, it is the special edition, the Wrestlemania edition of the show. The biggest event of the year, it is back again, and I tell you what, I cannot believe that it's Wrestlemania. I mean, how quickly has the last year gone? I mean, it's crazy. But we are at Wrestlemania again, and look, whether you're excited for it or not, I think we can all agree on this week of wrestling, this WrestleMania week now. You know, it's not WrestleMania Day, it's WrestleMania week now. It's exciting. It's one of the most exciting weeks of the year for a wrestling fan. Whether you're looking forward to NXT Takeover, the Hall of Fame, or, you know, the Raw after WrestleMania itself. There's so much to watch and so much to look forward to. You could even argue there's maybe too much, but I personally am very much so looking forward to this next week. I think it's going to be great. I'm really excited to see what happens and, you know, who comes, you know, who makes an appearance, you know, will we get any surprises, who wins the big matches, who walks out as champion, everything is pretty exciting to me. I just find WrestleMania, no matter what the card is, no matter what it's looking like, so enjoyable to watch, and you know, really happy to get the chance to sit down and watch every event that's going to take place this year. And it's been pretty shitty here in the last few days. We're currently having, well, a bit of a cyclone near where I am. Not quite me specifically, but there's been heavy rain all day. So if you hear any noise in the background, it's probably because it's, you know, pouring down rain. Not at the moment, but it could pick up throughout the show. So, yeah, we've had heavy rain for the last couple of days, and up north a little bit further, it is, it's getting pretty bad. So even some flooding's been happening. So pretty crazy weather here in Australia at the moment. And the positive thing was I was meant to have an exam today, and the university had to close because of the weather. So now my exam's been postponed a week. So that's just, you know, that's the best news you can ever hear, you know. So very pleased about that one. But yeah, so today on the show, we're going to do all things WrestleMania. We're going to get through the WrestleMania card. We're going to talk about possible appearances from some special guests. We're going to chat about NXT Takeover as well. We're going to go through the card. And we'll also touch on the Raw after WrestleMania as well. In terms of what happened in the last week of Raw and SmackDown before WrestleMania, there really wasn't much to really talk about. I mean, I guess we'll brush over it quickly now. Raw, I thought, was just meh. There wasn't a lot there. I enjoyed the Triple H and Seth Rollins exchange, but I thought both brands had a really poor end to their shows. I mean, we had Goldberg spearing Lesnar, and that's it. And then we had Randy Orton with his really strange promo vignette, or, you know, appearance on the screen, and it was just odd, and that was a really strange way to end SmackDown, and then that's the lead up to WrestleMania. It was just a really poor way. I think, you know, maybe a face-to-face confrontation may have worked. I don't think we've really seen that between the two. I guess they're saving that, but just a little of a tease there. Maybe the two just going face-to-face. Don't have to fight, don't have to do anything, just face-to-face, eye-to-eye, and just stand down to end out the show. It's simple, it's effective, and what they did with SmackDown, I just felt as though it wasn't right. And again with Raw, Goldberg once again, you know, got the better of Lesnar. So it's just like, wow. I mean, you know, if you're an outsider looking in and you can, you're assuming that Goldberg's going to be there after WrestleMania, you probably would be putting your house on Goldberg to win, because every time these two guys go face to face, Goldberg gets the better of him, except for one instance where he got, you know, met with the F5. So they haven't really done a great job in building Lesnar up as a legitimate threat to Goldberg. It's hard to believe. You know, I know it's, you know, we all know it's Brock Lesnar and what he's done, but you look at the last, you know, 6 months of Brock Lesnar, it's hard to believe that he can beat Goldberg. So they haven't done a great job building that up at all, and we'll talk more about that when we get to the match itself. But you know, I think a very simple way to solve that would have been Lesnar calls out someone in the back, you know, he's pissed off, let's fight, and beats a few guys up, maybe even has a 10-second match. Just beats someone, hits an F5 straight away and beats them. You know, have a Goldberg match on Raw and say, well, you know, whatever you can do, I can do better. They could have done a lot of different things instead of having Brock Lesnar appear after Raw every single week and F5 the Big Show and have a match with the Big Show. They could have done that on Raw itself, and it could have just been a quick 30-second match, and it would have allowed us to all see Brock Lesnar and beat someone up and look good, but they haven't done that. But anyways, so they've done a few strange things there this week in terms of the endings and some of the build towards some of these matches. But for the most part, I'm really looking forward to WrestleMania. I am. The card itself, I think we're all getting caught up a little bit in terms of what match is closing out WrestleMania. I don't think it really matters all that much. I mean, you look at the card and there's something for everyone, I believe. I think, the Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho match will be for, I guess, the diehard fans. I think they can really enjoy that. The casuals will enjoy Lesnar and Goldberg, and maybe even Randy and Bray to a lesser extent as well. And then even the Cruiserweight match, I think Austin Aries and Neville could be the match of the night. And now it's been bumped to the pre-show, fingers crossed that means they're going to get extra time. It doesn't necessarily mean so, because the pre-show is a weird thing. It's a weird thing because it's 2 hours long, but somehow they only really fit in like half an hour of wrestling. And they have an hour and a half of pre-game analysis, promos, and even interviews. I would like to see the pre-show an hour, 45 minutes an hour, because you've got 3 matches there. There's no reason why Neville and Austin Aries can't go 20 minutes. 20 minutes and showcase the Cruiserweights the best possible way. These are the 2 best guys in the Cruiserweight division. Give it all they got. And that's my my suggestion. But anyway, we haven't really got there yet. We're kind of jumping around a little bit. But yeah, so it's going to be 6 hours long, maybe even longer. I mean, I think WrestleMania last year ended up being longer because they just added an extra hour just because. So who knows how long WrestleMania will go this year. There's, from what I can tell, 13 matches, and that's quite a lot. Obviously, some matches will get extra time, some won't. And to me, looking at the card, I mean, there's obviously Goldberg and Lesnar, which probably won't get much time. We'll talk about that later. Probably not a lot of time there, so that will obviously cut down a fair bit. But then you got Roman Reigns and The Undertaker. That could go 20 minutes. Seth Rollins and Triple H, I'm sure Triple H will want a long match, so he might get 20-25 minutes. Shane McMahon and AJ Styles, that might even go 20-25 minutes. So that's a good chunk of the card. And then Jericho and Owens, maybe another one that gets a good 20 minutes as well. So a few matches there that could be very lengthy. So yeah, I guess I can see how it's going to be that long, potentially even longer. Probably not a bad thing that Goldberg and Lesnar is only short, because they need probably to allocate some time to some of the better matches. And I'm just looking at the card now. On paper, it's pretty good. It's pretty positive. But I guess we'll jump into it now, and we'll start from the pre-show matches. And well, we have the 6-pack challenge. It's been labeled on Wikipedia. I mean, we don't even know what match it is. I've just pulled up the match card quickly. That's what Wikipedia is saying. I don't think it's a 6-pack challenge, because I would assume there's going to be more women added. But thus far, there's Alexa Bliss, who's the champ, Becky Lynch, Natalya, Mickie James, Carmella, and Naomi in this matchup. So that's who we have for this Women's Championship match for SmackDown's title. And right there and then, I think that's a good match. I think there's been some criticism, like, they're just throwing this together, putting all the women on the show. Maybe, but the thing is, we've had Becky Lynch and Alexa Bliss too many times. And I'm sure the plan may have been originally Naomi and Alexa Bliss, which I think would have been just fine. But I think this is a good way to kind of showcase all the SmackDown women. I think Natalya, Mickie James, Carmella, Naomi, Becky Lynch, and of course Alexa Bliss, they've all done superb in the last few months. I think all of them deserve to be on WrestleMania. It's not like, then there's one of them not really putting in the work. You look at Natalya, had a great rivalry with Nikki Bella, in my opinion. Carmella, the same. Carmella's been slowly building herself up and getting herself more over. This James Ellsworth thing is working. Mickie James just came back, and I think, she hasn't really had a chance to showcase herself too much yet. I think she definitely deserves a WrestleMania matchup. And Becky Lynch has been, I think, the staple of the SmackDown Women's division for quite some time now. And of course, Naomi, just won the championship, just starting to get a career sorted out, and she misses out thanks to injury. But thankfully, she's recovered just in time. Makes you kind of wonder, though, should they have dropped the championship from Naomi? I guess they were panicked and felt as though that she wasn't going to make WrestleMania, and she recovered a little bit quicker than perhaps they expected. So you can't really fault them there. I feel like that would have been the right call. If you're not sure, just go with it. Just do it, because you don't want to have, a championship not defended at WrestleMania, whether it be whatever title, whether it be the women's title or the WWE Championship. Doesn't matter. You don't want to have a championship not defended if you can help it. So having Naomi lose the championship is not such a bad idea, and it was a nice little return that she had on SmackDown. It was a nice, probably one of the more notable things that happened on SmackDown, and I'm glad to see her in it. I think that just adds a little bit more to it. Alright, so the possible women that could be in this match, well, there's the two big rumors that are Kelly and Victoria. Now, I think Kelly is probably the strongest out of the two, because Kelly has been already, she's already announced that she's going to be at WrestleMania Access. She's going to be involved in WrestleMania in some capacity. So there's a major chance that she might get there. Now, obviously, the thing is, they have to be active SmackDown women to be a part of this match. But I think they can just, ignore it and work around it. I think that's just whatever. So Victoria, I would like to see it. She's obviously up there in age now, but she still looks good. She can still do it, I'm sure. So I think her coming back would be great. And this is the thing that the women don't really have enough, is that's surprise appearances from women in the past. We see old legends come back, all the time, and we don't really see a lot of women who have kind of retired and moved on come back very often. Maybe Lita, maybe Trish, but, they don't really wrestle or really do much either. And obviously, I'm sure they probably would have liked to seen Trish in this match if possible, but that's not going to happen. So, yeah, so they can easily bring back some of these women, that still are, decent age, still can do it, I'm sure, and bring them back and have them involved. I wouldn't be against it. I think it'd be fun to have a few surprises in this match and be, whether it doesn't have to be the match of the night, and you could just have some of these legends come out, or, women from the past come out and be in this match, and just kind of build some excitement and a few returns to kick things off. The only issue could be is that this is most likely going to be the first match of the night, possibly the second. I feel like they might open WrestleMania with this matchup. So the crowd is going to be at its lowest. Now, last year's WrestleMania, the crowd couldn't get in. So have they got that sorted out? Are they going to be able to get these people in quicker and better and easier? Are people going to want to get in for the pre-show on time? I mean, personally, if I was going, I wish I was, I'd be there for the pre-show. I wouldn't want to miss a single match, no matter what the match is. Unless it's, Curtis Axel versus Bo Dallas, I could probably give that one a miss. But, for the most matches I would want to see, because I paid top dollar to get to WrestleMania, and I want to see all of it, So I'd like to hope that most people will be there for the pre-show, and I think this women's match might surprise us a little bit and be pretty fun, and might just be full of some spots and just kind of overdo it and be gimmicky perhaps, but I feel like it could be pretty fun, and potentially some returns would be fun. But how shitty would it be if there's no returns? I mean, I feel like they have to do at least one return now, because we all kind of anticipating it and thinking and hyping it up that it's going to be return. If there is none, well then shit, So they might shoot themselves in the foot by having this kind of any woman could show up who's part of SmackDown stipulation. The other possibilities we've heard are Emma going from Raw to SmackDown. I feel like that would be dumb to kind of play her vignettes and then how all of a sudden she shows up for SmackDown. But, maybe that's a storyline that they could play out between the two general managers, that, hey, they didn't give me a chance on Raw and I saw an opportunity to come to SmackDown. I would like to see something like that. I feel like we need to start seeing some of those storylines play out. Disgruntled people perhaps wanting to change brands. I feel like that's a storyline that I personally would like to see more of. If they want to do that, great. I doubt they will, but I think that would be a way to get her in there. And the other one is Summer Rae. So I don't think anyone would really care if Summer Rae came out, and honestly, I feel like Summer Rae is probably one of those women who will probably get released very soon, maybe in the next line of cuts, maybe if not next year, but I don't see her future. And the other one, of course, as well, is Tamina Snuka, who is healthy, who is active. She's doing the house show circuit, so she might just be a given. I think she is actually a SmackDown rostered member. So I think she might be an absolute given that she'll be in the match. And if she is, well, that's okay. I'm not a big fan of Tamina, and she's had, opportunity after opportunity, and just injuries are coming too far, too much for her. She's too injury prone, but she's got a good size, a good look about her, and she can be, that woman monster that perhaps SmackDown does need. So I would not be against her coming back and even getting highlighted and hot-shotted into the championship picture, perhaps when Naomi will win it. Because, we haven't given a prediction yet on who will win this match. I think if the plan was originally Naomi to be the champion, I think they'll go back to that. I think Alexa Bliss has been champion, been there, done that. It's time for her to probably move the championship along and maybe, continue her rivalry with Mickie James without the title, perhaps. And I wouldn't mind seeing Naomi as champion. I think she would be definitely deserves to have that proper championship reign, and unfortunately she could not get. So Naomi winning, I think, would be the right call, and they can go from there. The next one we'll talk about is the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Not a lot to really say. It's a match filled with job guys. Guys who don't belong on the card, who get themselves a chance just to get on the pre-show and be a part of WrestleMania. That's what this Battle Royal has basically been relegated to, and I think we all kind of expected it. Battle Royals are basically a WrestleMania tradition. It's the way to get these guys on the show, get them part of WrestleMania. It boosts morale. It's good for the guys. They get a paycheck. They get that bonus, WrestleMania bonus. So it's good all round for the company. And no one likes to be left off WrestleMania. I get it that perhaps you think, well, this will downgrade WrestleMania because these guys are on the card, but not really. Not really. If it's a Battle Royal, well, there's always only ever going to be 3 or 4 guys that are probably going to win it. And it's the same with this. There's Braun Strowman, The Big Show, Sami Zayn. I think those are the 3 main guys in it. Now, possible that Samoa Joe could be in it, and possible that perhaps a returning, or a surprise entrant could go in it. They haven't really done that many surprises with the Andre the Giant Battle Royal over the past couple of years that it's been around. So people are perhaps expecting maybe Rob Van Dam or even The Rock. I'd highly doubt that. But, an old legend to come in and be a part of the Battle Royal, I think will be disappointed because I don't think we'll see that. But I would personally love to see it. I personally would love to see a legend in there, just to throw them in there, and they don't have to do that much, just, kind of boost up the match and build a bit of excitement for it, because there really is none. They've only really mentioned the Battle Royal the last couple of weeks. It feels like they're not really treating it with much respect anymore. They're just kind of throwing it together like, oh shit, we better have the Battle Royal, so yeah, you guys are in it. And they don't really care who's in it, probably no real thought about it. The clear-cut winner for me is Braun Strowman. If he does not win, well, then that's just ridiculous. If Big Show wins over Strowman, well, what can I say? This company hasn't got a clue. So Strowman winning would be good. He's unfortunately hasn't got a singles match or any other match on the card, but that's okay. Winning this Battle Royal is a decent way to, make him look good. Throw 10 guys out of this Battle Royal, win the whole thing. It's not winning the WWE Championship. It's not a big win. But hey, Baron Corbin has been, talking himself up as the Battle Royal winner for the last year. And did it elevate him? I think it put him on the map. I think it gave him a big win, a win that people recognize and a trophy to kind of go with it. And people kind of remember that win, and, we've been kind of forced to. So it's a win that kind of put him in, gave him a step in the door. Strowman's already kind of established now, so him winning this, I think, is more expected, and I think he should win it, rather than, it'd be, be a nice surprise to see him win it. It's more like he needs to win this. He must win this. Possible that an NXT guy may be included. I didn't really think about that, but I think Baron Corbin was in NXT at the time, and he made his debut in that Battle Royal. It's possible, but I feel like if Strowman is the guy to win, I don't think they will kind of, debut anyone in there. Just because you don't want to have a guy make his debut and kind of get eliminated early or not really be a major factor in it. So I think they might hold off on that unless they have, someone big in mind, maybe Nakamura. I highly doubt it. He comes in there and wins it all. I doubt that. So I feel like no NXT debuts have been there. Possible that there's a return, but pretty unlikely. And I think one of the matches that could be the match of the night, Neville versus Austin Aries for the Cruiserweight Championship. Now, the two best in the Cruiserweights, Austin Aries and Neville, both tremendous workers, both have done a great job in building this one up. This is what the Cruiserweights needs to be. You know, two great guys like these two battling it out for this Cruiserweight title. I just hope they get some time to really showcase what they can do. I think Austin Aries has been the legitimate savior of the Cruiserweights. Neville, I think, you can give him a lot of credit. He's done a great job, and he has. But Austin Aries is the guy with legitimate star power ability, the guy who legitimately could move up into the main event. I know he's very small, but he's good enough to get there. Great promo, and that's something that the Cruiserweights have lacked, is a guy who can talk. Austin Aries can talk, he gets it done, and he and Neville have had a good back and forth. So I'm really looking forward to this match. I'm disappointed it's been bumped to the pre-show, but glass half full. Pre-show may mean that it might get some extra time, a few extra minutes that it may not have gotten on the main show. And also gives me a reason to tune in the pre-show. I probably wouldn't tune into the pre-show. You know, maybe I wouldn't watch it all. I don't know. But it gives me a reason to tune in. So I'm looking forward to it. I think that should be a great match and could be one of, if not the best match on the show. Alright, so we're on to the main card of WrestleMania. Predictions on what will open WrestleMania. I think it's very possible that the Triple Threat ladder match will open. I think that's the type of match that would suit opening WrestleMania. And I guess, you know, pre-show realistically opens WrestleMania for most of us. We tuned in for the pre-show. But, you know, let's just say this is the opener. You know, tag team matches, especially Triple Threat tags and ladder match tags, definitely will be a great opener. It's a way to kind of lift the crowd, get some excitement, have some big moments, big spots. When I think of a ladder match, a tag ladder match at WrestleMania, obviously we think about the great TLC matches as being the great Triple Threat ladder matches. It's been Edge, Christian, the Dudleys, and Hardys. We think of those matches, so there's some great precedents that they're going to have to try and live up to. So that's going to be tough for them. Look, Gallows and Anderson have been, they've finally got themselves in a position where they're no longer a joke. Now they're legitimate guys who have become the top of the tag team division, and you can believe it. They've finally figured out what to do with them. It's still not 100%, but they are a much better position than they ever have been. Very positive for them. Enzo and Cass, personally myself, I've kind of cooled off on them. I feel like they've just kind of, similar to the New Day, they're kind of doing the same old thing. There hasn't really been much improvement from the guys in the ring, and their matches haven't really amazed me that much. But this may be a moment for them, this ladder match, to kind of try some new things, really show us what they can do. I feel like they're going to win the match. I think Enzo and Cass will win the tag titles for the first time. I think that would probably make the most sense. But saying that, I think Gallows and Anderson deserve probably a longer title reign. But I think Enzo and Cass have, they've got a great crowd reaction. I think the crowd would certainly enjoy it. And, definitely having, the night after WrestleMania as well, I'm sure the crowd will be very much so into Enzo and Cass. So probably not a bad idea to give them the belts and kind of, run with that momentum that they will have for a little bit. And Cesaro and Sheamus, the other guys in there as well. Look, I like Cesaro and Sheamus. I think they're a good tag team. Now that they're on the same page, two hard-hitting guys. Cesaro's a freak in the ring. Sheamus, when he's with someone, he's not so bad. Him on his own, I think him on his own, I just can't stand it. Even when he's a heel, he's not a bad heel, but they kind of he's just so much better with Cesaro. They play off each other well. I just think they're a good tag team, and they just work. So I hope they don't split them up anytime soon. Let them, stay a tag team. Even if they keep on losing, don't win the belts for a while, that's okay. At least they're getting a good spotlight. At least they're on TV every week. Cesaro is finally doing something. At least he's not, in the Battle Royal, probably going to get eliminated by the Big Show. That probably would have been the alternative. So at least he's in a ladder match for the tag titles. That's okay. So my pick is Enzo and Cass to win. Dean Ambrose and Baron Corbin, 1-on-1 for the Intercontinental Championship, rather. Look, I'm not a big fan of Baron Corbin, but I think this is the right time to give him the championship. I was never a fan of Ambrose getting the title to begin with. I feel like he's done nothing with the championship. It hasn't really deserved or needed the championship. But this rivalry's been okay. I haven't minded it at all. You know, they've tried a few different things, you know, some, you know, backstage altercations, and obviously Corbin trying to crush Ambrose with the forklift, things like that. So they've tried a few different things. You know, they kicked it off at Elimination Chamber. It was pretty positive from there. So I think Baron Corbin winning and getting a championship for the first time would, you know, be a good moment for him. And Ambrose putting him over would also elevate Baron Corbin, and he would now be a legitimate guy. Ambrose losing the belt to Corbin won't really hurt him too much. I think Ambrose needs to get back in the world title picture, especially now if Bray Wyatt is going to be champion, or even Randy Orton. I'd be moving Ambrose back in. I think the reason why Ambrose won the title is just to give him something, keep him busy, give him a purpose, whilst they're kind of playing out this Orton and Bray Wyatt storyline, and obviously AJ Styles, who beat Ambrose enough times. They can't really have Ambrose in that title picture, so they needed to do something with him, and this is their solution. Now that, you know, they'll have an opportunity for Ambrose to get back into the title picture, they can do that and have Baron Corbin be the Intercontinental Champion, and perhaps have matches with, you know, the mid-card guys there. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of guys really to take on Baron Corbin. I mean, Apollo Crews, Kalisto, yeah, not a lot really happening there. So once Dean Ambrose moves on from Baron Corbin, could be a downward spiral for Baron Corbin unless they can get some guys over in that mid-card and start to, you know, get him there, or maybe even bring someone else up to take him on. One of the surprise matches I'm actually looking forward to, is John Cena, Nikki Bella versus The Miz and Maurice. Once again, this week on SmackDown, the Total Bella's Bullshit segment was even better than last week. It was hilarious. It was just amazing. Fantastic. Some of the best stuff that's happened in a long time. Hit it out of the park. Terrific. So, a match that I think we could all agree on, nobody really wanted to see, is now, all of a sudden, hang on, this is actually pretty exciting. You know, they've added this element of realism to it, that you can believe it, and you believe what The Miz is saying. You believe that The Miz and Maurice don't think Cena and Nikki Bella's relationship is legitimate, you know, and we know, you know, realistically, Miz is kind of talking the truth for the most part. You know, what kind of guy, Cena, if he supposedly loves his girlfriend so much, why doesn't he put a ring on her finger, and, you know, why doesn't he give her a kid? You know, most of the things The Miz and Maurice are saying is, you know, very valid, and realistically, The Miz is right, and Cena's almost the bad guy if you think about it, because he's, you know, not treating his girlfriend right. He's got all these rules and all the contracts and things like that for his poor girlfriend, who, you know, shouldn't have that. But so I guess you think about it, maybe Cena's the bad guy in this situation, but it depends how you look at it. But anyways, this match is, I think, good, and obviously Maurice's in-ring return, so we'll see how she goes. I don't think she'll have too much involvement. I think it'll mainly be Cena and The Miz. Nikki Bella and Maurice might have probably 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes tops in there. I think for the most part, when that happens, I think it'll be mainly Nikki Bella just all over Maurice. And Cena and Miz, I think, will have a good back and forth. Personally, I think The Miz and Maurice need to win. And the reason why I say that is because Cena's going away to film a movie after WrestleMania that's well documented. He's going to do Daddy's Home 2, which I like Daddy's Home 1. I thought it was great. I'm looking forward to Daddy's Home 2. So he's going to do that movie. And what does Cena get by winning? And we've had this conversation. We talk about this all the time with John Cena. But what does he get if he wins a big match? Nothing. What does the guy who loses against Cena get? You know, he gets taken down the card, and it just, you know, really hurts his momentum. It's another situation of that. But the thing is, you know, some rumors are that Cena and Nikki Bella, and perhaps a proposal may go down. If that's the case, there's no way in hell that, you know, Cena and Nikki are going to lose. And I think it's a pretty big long shot that The Miz and Maurice are going to win anyways. Because, look, Cena and Nikki Bella, this is their first time teaming together. I'm sure they would, you know, I'm sure Cena in the back wants to get the win. I'm sure they want to have that big celebration, that big moment, and, you know, kissing and hugging and you know, holding each other's hands up in the air at WrestleMania and having that big special moment. I'm sure they want that. I'm sure WWE wants that. So it's very unlikely that Miz and Maurice will be able to get that win. But to be honest, I feel like the Miz winning could just elevate him back into the main event. And I think he deserves to be there. His work, I have never been that much of a Miz fan, But you have to say that his work in the last 6 months has been the best, if not one of the best in the entire WWE right now. He is on fire. His promo work has just been incredible. He's created interest in, 3 different storylines. Not just one. Hasn't had one good storyline. He said, well, if you want to count the Daniel Bryan situation, maybe 4. I enjoyed Ziggler and The Miz, Ambrose and The Miz, Daniel Bryan and The Miz, and John Cena and The Miz. So 4 storylines in this past, year or 6 months or whatever it is on SmackDown have been great. So it's not because he's working with Cena, not because he's working with Ambrose. It's because The Miz, to me, is making them great. So I think you have to reward The Miz with that. Him losing here doesn't help him. Him winning here, well, he gets to go out and brag that he beat John Cena at WrestleMania again. He's already beaten him once. Of course, 6 years ago now. He gets to brag about it, and he can, start to kind of get some momentum and get some legitimacy about him, because he's been a guy who has had that many losses. He's been taken far down the card. I think a lot of us can't really take him seriously again as a main event guy. But if they're ever going to get The Miz back into that position, if they're ever going to get The Miz a top guy again, they have to do it now. It's now or never, because he's at his absolute peak. This is The Miz at his best, in my opinion. So if they're going to get him there, and I think they want to. I think SmackDown's, crew, they want to see The Miz succeed. I think they realize how well he's doing. They're giving him more promo time. They had him do these, segments at Cena's house. I think they're realizing what Miz can do. So the best way for them to capitalize on this momentum is for The Miz to get this big win. And it might just be the one thing that he can, utilize to get back to the top. Next up, we've got Chris Jericho, the United States Champion, versus Kevin Owens. I feel like Kevin Owens winning the US title would be a step back. I don't think it needs to happen. And honestly, I would prefer Jericho to hang on to it and perhaps lose it to Samoa Joe on a Raw in the next few weeks. I understand that Jericho is leaving soon and he's going to be gone. So you can quite easily have Jericho lose the championship then. And I think it also would tie up the storyline nicely to have Jericho get his revenge on Kevin Owens. Let's not think like a booker for a second. Let's think like, how we would like to see this storyline play out. How we would like to see this storyline end. And WrestleMania, realistically, over the years, has been about ending storylines and getting the babyface getting the happy moment, the big ending, and finally getting the big win and revenge on the bad heel. And this is a case of that. This is an example of the opportunity to do this. Whilst it would be good for Jericho to put Kevin Owens over and lose the US title to him, I think realistically the storyline, I think most of us would like to see Chris Jericho win. Personally, I would. So what do you do with the US title? Well, Samoa Joe has been affiliated with Kevin Owens, and perhaps Samoa Joe comes in and he wants to do it. He wants to beat up Chris Jericho for screwing over Kevin Owens. I think Samoa Joe may get himself involved in this match at WrestleMania, and that may be Samoa Joe's involvement. Unfortunately for him, he's probably not going to be in a match, but this will be a way for him to get involved in WrestleMania. I think that's probably given at this point. They've had Joe involved enough now where that's probably going to go be the case. And honestly, if they want to do something with Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe after WrestleMania, putting them as a tag team, Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe as a tag team, I think would be great. I know you're thinking, well, you put him in the tag division. Are you serious? It's a step back. But look, if the plan is to have Brock Lesnar the champ and not Kevin Owens, and they don't want to put Samoa Joe that high up in the card yet, tag division would be perfect for them. Spotlights them in a division where there's room for them to go in, gives the division another tag team, and with some star power as well and some credibility. So realistically, it ticks all the boxes. I guess you probably want to see Owens and Samoa Joe fight for the Universal title, but that probably isn't going to happen because Lesnar's probably not going to compete until SummerSlam. Maybe he does one pay-per-view before then when he wins the belt. And if Goldberg does somehow win, he's probably going to be the same. So the champ is not going to be around. So the opportunity for Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe to compete with the belt are very few and far between. So the best solution for that would be let them have a run as a tag team. I think Jericho and Owens, I think a big mistake with their run is that they never won the tag team titles. You know, they didn't have enough tag team title matches. They didn't compete in the tag division enough. You know, it was all about being the Universal Champ. And then obviously US Champ at the end. I think the mistake that they made is not, you know, actually having them compete for those tag titles and maybe even be tag team champions. I think that would have been great. You know, especially because we all love the pairing, we all love the duo. Well, now you have Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe. Two, you know, they're not tall guys, but they're still, you know, good sized guys. Could come in and kind of run through this tag division and be very, you know, very credible as a team. And obviously you could have an implosion at the end of it. Either Joe or Kevin Owens could turn on one another, and then you start a new rivalry there, and you go from there. And once that rivalry settles, and I know it's kind of like, well, we just had that with Jericho and Owens, but it'll be different. You know, it could be a battle of who is Triple H's true chosen one. And you could kind of go with there, and maybe that sets up for a SummerSlam match. And then whoever wins that SummerSlam match might get a title shot after that. So that'll be a good way to kind of fill in the blanks until SummerSlam, until perhaps the championship may be more available. And in terms of the US title, you know, they could either have, you know, look, they could have Jericho lose it to Kevin Owens or Samoa Joe, or maybe even Jericho lose it to a Braun Strowman. You know, Braun Strowman wins the Battle Royal, his reward, hey, we'll give you a championship shot at Chris Jericho's belt. He wins it, and he holds it for a while. You know, that's a you know, an alternative. So I personally think Jericho winning would be the right call, and do something else with Kevin Owens. Him being a champion, a singles champion. Well, we've kind of seen it for the last nearly year, so I wouldn't mind, like I said, the tag team with Samoa Joe. I think that'd be pretty cool. We have a Fatal 4-Way match, elimination match for the Women's Championship. Bayley, Charlotte, Sasha, and Nia Jax. This is a match I really don't care about. I guess Bayley will probably win, but there's the other alternative, maybe Nia Jax winning. I think they need to turn Sasha Banks heel, and I know we all, you know, people say, well, the alternative is turn someone heel to spice things up. You always preferring the heels, but in this circumstance, this whole Sasha and Bayley friendship is just, it's just unbearable, honestly. Charlotte's been champion too much. It's time for her to step away from the title. And honestly, I think Charlotte probably should have a couple months off. And I know that's strange to kind of say that, because, you know, why would you want to, you know, take one of the best women in the division, take them off TV? Well, that's the thing. They've been on too much. And sometimes people having a rest, having a cool down period is a good thing. Freshen them up and come back, you know, when there's a purpose, because we've already seen Charlotte and Bayley enough. Charlotte and Sasha. The only other match that Charlotte can really do is Charlotte and Nia Jax. So do you turn Nia or do you turn Charlotte? I don't think you turn either. I think what you do is have either Sasha or Bayley win, take on Nia Jax, do that rivalry, play that out, let Charlotte go off TV for a month or two. She can still do house shows if you still want to keep using her. I think it'd be good to kind of, you know, let her have a bit of a rest anyways. I think that'd be a smart idea. I think more wrestlers need more of a rest. But, you know, then you bring her back in a couple months' time. Perhaps there's a new champ, or perhaps there's an opening for her to come in and compete for the title. Maybe Emma's debuted by then. Maybe you could have Emma and Charlotte have a rivalry. Maybe you brought up Asuka. Maybe someone else has come in. You know, you could do something there. So there's a few things that you could do a couple months down the line, but for right now, there's not a lot you can do with Charlotte. She's kind of played out. Sasha and Bayley, they can still do that with a turn. Sasha and Nia Jax has kind of been done, hasn't it? So really, there's perhaps only Nia Jax and Bayley that they could probably do, unless there is a turn involved. So I'm probably tipping Bayley to retain or Nia Jax to win. But Nia Jax, she's got no momentum. She's got none. She's losing matches, and I can't believe that she's losing matches. You're building her up to be this monster, and her promos are unbearable. Her promos are dreadful. Get the mic out of her hand, because her voice is shocking, and they're just doing so many things wrong with her character. They're trying to make her look pretty, you know, when they're trying to also portray her as this, you know, big, bad, tough bitch. Let's be honest. But then it's just doing so many things wrong with her character. It's just not working. They've got to really go back to the drawing board before I would give the strap to her, because right now she's just got no momentum. I think it would be a mistake. I think she would crumble being the champ. So I think Bayley or Sasha would be the safe bet. Bayley, I don't like her. I really don't care for it at all, but I think she should win the championship win this match and go on, and perhaps feud with Nia Jax. All right, next up, Shane McMahon and AJ Styles. Look, we've said a lot about this match over the last few weeks of the show, but like I've said, I think this could be a surprise of the night. I think this will get plenty of time because it is Shane McMahon, and for the most part, it'll be Shane McMahon getting his ass kicked. Let's be honest, that's a Shane McMahon match. He's going to get his ass kicked, but then he'll get in his spots. I saw a picture that there's, on top of they've got the ring in the middle, of course, and then they have the lighting equipment above the ring, and then above the lighting equipment, this is for the WrestleMania stage setup, they've got another ring-looking thing above the ring, so it's kind of a bit of a weird setup that they've got going on there. Some people have been even joking, hey, Shane McMahon's going to jump off the second ring off the top. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think Shane McMahon will do something crazy. Maybe it's just an elbow through the table again. Maybe he finds something big to jump off. I don't know, but we're going to see Shane McMahon and AJ Styles do some great spots. Shane McMahon's going to do something crazy just to have his big WrestleMania moment again. So this could be the exciting match of the night. It may not be the best technical match in the world, but I think there's going to be some excitement, and I think these guys are going to give it their all. I think AJ Styles has a point to prove. He wants to be, involved in bigger matches and bigger pay-per-views. He probably would not be happy that he's not in the title picture. Deep down, I'm sure would have liked to have been a part of that. So maybe AJ Styles has a bit of a point to prove. And this is an opportunity for both guys to kind of give us a bit of a surprise match. Seth Rollins and Triple H, our next one. Non-sanctioned match, which will basically mean it's anything goes. No DQ. So I think that's the best way to go about it, especially Triple H. I think Triple H needs no DQ to have a good match at this point in his career. I think Triple H can utilize the sledgehammer, go outside, brawl outside the ring, use weapons. I think that's a great way for Triple H to compete at this point. Him having a standard singles match, I just don't think is a good idea for him at this point in time. I just feel like Triple H needs the stipulation. So this is going to be beneficial for him. It'll be interesting to see how much Seth Rollins can do and what type of risk will he take. Will he jump off the top? Will he do a dive over the top of the rope? Will he, will he do anything crazy? Will he be conservative with the injury? How much will he be affected by this injury? Is he going to be 50%, 60%, 70, 80, or 100%? I don't know. I would probably say he's maybe 75, 80%. Is 75, 80% Seth Rollins still good enough to have a great match? I definitely think so. So I personally think this match is still going to be good. I'm a big fan of Triple H, have been for a long time, so to see him in the ring again is always exciting for me. I guarantee you he will have a big WrestleMania entrance. He always does, so you can put down 5 minutes of the show to Triple H's entrance. And Seth Rollins will probably hobble to the ring. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting, no doubt. There might be some shenanigans. Maybe Kevin Owens, maybe Samoa Joe interfere. Maybe even Triple H introduces another guy to his NXT or future guys group. Who knows what could happen. Maybe Seth Rollins gets some help. Maybe Finn Balor comes out and helps Seth Rollins. You don't know. There's a few things that I think could happen in this one that, maybe Shawn Michaels makes an appearance and helps Triple H. There's a few things that I think in this match with that non-sanction, that no DQ stip, we may see some guys show up. And we may see some different things. Generally those types of things do happen with the Triple H match as well. So keep an eye out for that one. All right, next one. Very interesting match. Undertaker and Roman Reigns. Well, it's very similar to Seth Rollins, but to a bigger degree. What condition is the Undertaker in? Is he going to be able to go? Is he going to be able to have a match? Is he going to be able to put in a 20-minute match, WrestleMania caliber match against Roman Reigns? Many people believe Roman Reigns is not a good worker, can't wrestle. I completely disagree. I think he's fine. So many people are already starting to think, well, hey, the only reason why Roman Reigns has a good match is because of his opponents. And the same thing has been said about John Cena over the years. And I think it's a load of shit. John Cena has had dozens of classic matches, dozens of great matches with various different opponents. And you could say, oh, Cena only was good because, Edge carried him to that match, or Cena was good because CM Punk carried him. I get that, but when you have the same guy in the same matches all the time, there's a reason why they're good. And if this is the case, then Great Khali would have had so many great matches because he took on the likes of Undertaker, Shawn Michaels. He took on so many different guys. And still, he was the absolute drizzling shit. So it's not about the opponent all the time. It's, it's both guys coming together. So I think Roman Reigns, whilst I wouldn't put him on the Cena category, I think he's decent. I think he's good. I don't think we've really been let down by a Roman Reigns match. To be honest, I can't remember a time where I've looked at a Roman Reigns match, except for Triple H and Roman Reigns. I think that's probably the one. But especially, the big matches, there's a lot of times where Roman Reigns doesn't let us down. So I think Reigns will be fine. I think the real worry is The Undertaker. Is he going to be ready to go? Is his hip okay? Is he going to be able to wrestle? What type of match is this going to be? Is this going to be Undertaker just, slowly walking around the ring? Roman Reigns running into punches? Are we going to see a Hulk Hogan match from The Undertaker in this one, where Hogan will just put the boot up and the other guy runs into it? Is this what we're going to see from The Undertaker at WrestleMania? I hope not. I hope he can do more. I hope he doesn't embarrass himself, because, look at a guy like Kane. Kane, terrific career. At one point, it was such a badass that just so feared and so dominant. And you look at Kane now, and he's just a shell of his former self. And you kind of... You think of this Kane, you forget about the Kane that he used to be. You forget about this one. And you probably think, well, hey, he should have retired a few years ago. Probably 2 or 3 years ago. He should have, hung it up. Are we seeing the same thing with The Undertaker? Are we, looking at The Undertaker and say, well, man, he had a great match against CM Punk at WrestleMania 29. He was still going well. Still had some great matches. The Lesnar match wasn't great. The Bray Wyatt match wasn't great. The Shane McMahon match was okay. I think he had a good match with Brock Lesnar and then Hell in a Cell. I love that one. So he still had a good one there, and I think the SummerSlam one was pretty good too. So he still had a couple of good ones there with Lesnar. But I don't know. Undertaker's just been on the heavy decline. His body's really just fighting against him. I'm sure he wants to keep going, but I just don't know if he can. And this is going to be the sure tale sign. We're hearing rumors that this is going to be his last one. And when Roman Reigns said he's going to retire The Undertaker, he actually legitimately meant that. I still think if this is going to be Undertaker's last match, announce it 6 months in advance. He's finishing up at WrestleMania. WrestleMania 33 is his final match. He's going to retire. Who wants to be his last opponent? Do that storyline. Have a storyline where this young, cocky, arrogant guy. I think of a Randy Orton back in the day when he was a Legend Killer. I think of that type of storyline. I want to be the one to beat The Undertaker. I want to be the one to retire him. If you had done that storyline with Roman Reigns, knowing that this is his last match, then I think it would have been more effective. But Reigns has just acted like a heel. And Triple H came out and said that, well, Roman Reigns may just be a heel. He's just presented differently, which is interesting. So they kind of realize that people hate him. Sometimes they kind of play up on it, and other times they don't. We went on a big rant a few weeks ago about Roman Reigns, and the whole retirement thing was kind of stupid. But look, if Roman Reigns wins and he does retire The Undertaker, or even if he wins, he's going to be booed out of the building everywhere he goes. It's going to be colossal heat. It's going to be much worse than ever. They're going to have no choice but to turn the guy heel. And I feel like Roman Reigns turning heel is a great opportunity for him to do it by being The Undertaker. I thought John Cena turning heel, the best way for him to do it was by ending the streak. Or beating The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Him beating The Undertaker at WrestleMania, coming out and bragging that he ended the streak, would have been the perfect way for Cena to turn heel. He would have been hated for the rest of his career. Roman Reigns, if he beats The Undertaker, I feel like he'll be hated for the rest of his career. Especially if he's his final opponent. So, look, I feel like they probably don't want to have Undertaker lose at WrestleMania again and keep it at that, 24-1 now? Is he shooting for 25 wins this year, or is it 23-1? It might be 23-1. So, so that's interesting. So it's not quite the 25th win, and I don't know if he'll be able to get there. So if it is his last match, he needs, you want to see him put it over Roman Reigns. Like him or hate him. If this is the Undertaker's last match, put someone over on your way out. It depends on the situation, but I'm normally very against someone winning their retirement match. Look at Ric Flair, with Shawn Michaels. It was the right call. Shawn Michaels beating Ric Flair, ending his career. And yes, you want to see a guy end his career on a high, but that's not how wrestling works. When you go out, you give something back. And I think The Undertaker hasn't given enough back, to be honest with you. So, I think that would be the right call. But if Undertaker's going to do another one, if he can go again, maybe beat Reigns, and then maybe they do the Cena and Undertaker match. I don't know. This one can go either way. This is going to be an interesting one. It could go either way. And look, if Reigns wins, be prepared, WWE. He's going to get booed out of the building. Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton, WWE Championship on the line. Another one that could go either way. I think Bray Wyatt as champion has been okay so far. We haven't really had much of a chance to see what he's all about. We haven't actually seen him in the ring very much either. So I think, personally, I would have Bray Wyatt win. Randy Orton as champion, we've seen it, been there, done that. It's time to focus on some new guys. Bray Wyatt has deserved this championship run. He's put in 3 or 4 great years in the company. Nearly racking up 5 years now, isn't it? So, not including his Husky Harris days. I'm talking about the Bray Wyatt character. So he's put in a long time with this character without a lot of return in terms of wins and losses. He has done the job, the job, a lot. A lot of big matches he's lost. And a lot of times they had a chance to really get Bray Wyatt elevated. And for whatever reason, they feel like now's the time to give him the strap. Now's the time to give him that big push. I don't know why. It felt like it was just out of the blue. But if they're going to go with it, go with it. Stick with it. Keep the belt on Bray Wyatt. Have him beat Randy Orton. Maybe you do a Luke Harper and Bray Wyatt feud after that for real. And, and Randy Orton losing, he's still going to be Randy Orton. Randy Orton's in that position now. He can lose 15 matches in a row, and he's still going to be Randy Orton. He's in that Chris Jericho position. He's always going to be beloved. He's always going to be over. He's always going to be the man. So he's virtually untouchable. Yes, he could go down the card a little bit, and maybe we're expecting him to lose more than he wins. But in the end, it's not going to really matter. So Randy Orton losing is the right call. Bray Wyatt should remain champion, and let's give him a few months to kind of see what he can do as the champ. And potentially there may even be a trade. Roman Reigns going over to SmackDown, AJ Styles going to Raw. We're hearing some rumors about trade or even a mini draft. I don't know. We're hearing some things. So he might have a few new opponents to take on as well. So because right now, who is there really for Bray Wyatt to face? He's got Randy, he's got Luke Harper, he's got Dean Ambrose. So he's got a couple guys there, a few guys there to really take on. So there's a little bit there he can do for the short term. And maybe they bring up someone else. Maybe they put Nakamura over on SmackDown and build towards that for a SummerSlam. I don't know. But he's got some options for right now. And finally, the main event of WrestleMania, we're assuming Goldberg-Lesnar. Well, the big talking point is how long is this match going to go for? What's the over-under? I think I wrote on my forums, BrendanPlays.com/forums, we're having a bit of a guessing game ourselves. I think I wrote 5 minutes and 12 seconds is my prediction, and that does not include entrances. I think Goldberg will have a big entrance, a big special entrance. Lesnar not so much. So I think Goldberg will get something there. Perhaps the security guards come back and they escort him to the ring again. That'd be cool. Maybe the police. They do something like that. So they might go in that direction, have him have that big entrance. I think 5 minutes is probably where we're going to see this one. I think Lesnar's going to win. There's been some talk that Goldberg might do another one. If they offer him the chance to come back and do more matches, he's open to doing it. Which I think might not be such a bad idea, because if he's only going to lose to Lesnar on his way out after destroying Kevin Owens, I think it's kind of shitty. I would like to see Goldberg maybe have another match or two, lose to a couple guys, and call it quits. Maybe Kevin Owens gets his revenge on Goldberg. Maybe Goldberg has a big match against I don't know. I'm trying to think who's on Raw who could maybe Strowman beats up Goldberg. Maybe AJ Styles if he's taking over another brand. I don't know. They could do a few things with Goldberg. So yeah, so that's the thing. And look, Goldberg has had good crowd reactions. I would say his run's been pretty good. Would we like to see him wrestle more? Yes, but we all know Goldberg, his whole career has been based around short, sharp matches. So, did we really expect too much else from that? No. Would we have liked to have seen maybe 5-minute matches? Maybe Kevin Owens and Goldberg 5 minutes long, then the distraction happens? Yes, I would have. Rather than 30-second. A 30-second main event is a joke. Absolutely. And that's why I think the crowd may be hostile to this one. I think it wouldn't even surprise me if the crowd count down the seconds, count down a minute. They chant out 1 minute, when they hits the minute mark, or 2 minutes, It wouldn't surprise me if people are in the crowd, chanting out how long this match is going for. And it'd be funny. I think probably the way to go about this one is have Goldberg hit the spear jackhammer. Lesnar kicks out within the first 30 seconds. Goldberg shocks the world again. Oh my God, he's going to beat him in 30 seconds. Lesnar kicks out. Then you take a step back, reassess. Both guys get to their feet and go from there. I feel like a no DQ step would have helped. Have these guys brawl around the ring, maybe take it to the crowd, just fight around the ring, and you can eat up some time there. Take your time and just eat up some time, and they might even be able to get stretched out to 10 minutes. Lesnar hits a couple of F5s. Goldberg kicks out a few times. Wouldn't surprise me if it's just a finisher fest. Just guys kicking out of their finisher all the time. Very similar to The Rock and Cena a few years ago, where they're just, they've got no ideas, so they're just kicking out of finishes over and over and over. Wouldn't surprise me if that's the case. I don't think Goldberg's going to take too many German suplexes either. I don't think he'll want to take that risk to his neck, and obviously being that age. I probably will wince every time I see him take a German suplex. So I probably would steer clear of that, so we might see something different from Lesnar. I hope we do, because I don't want to repeat a WrestleMania 20 where the match was just the drizzling shit. I would like to see something different. I hope that they deliver. I'm not anticipating much, but I hope whatever they got in mind works and is good, and it works out okay. Let's hope, because the crowd's going to be hostile, without a doubt, and it's not looking very positive, not looking promising at this point, so let's hope they surprise us. Alright, so that's WrestleMania. There's a few other things I want to chat about with regards to WrestleMania. The Hardy Boys, will they make an appearance? They're going to be in town for WrestleMania. They're in talks to come back to WWE. There's even talks of them being able to use the broken gimmick. The way I would do it, the Usos come out, open challenge. The tag champs. Why aren't we on WrestleMania? Why don't we have a match? Hardy Boys come out, surprise appearance, beat the Usos, new tag team champions right there. And it could even be a reason why they did the title change. And then you have the Hardys go to SmackDown, which I think would be a great boost to their tag division, because SmackDown's tag division is horrible. And I think there's without a doubt in my mind that they're going to be a tag team. I don't think they're going to be singles, they're going to be a tag team. So that's the way I would do it. Hardy Boys come out, Usos want a challenge, they get one, the Hardy Boys beat them. Surprise match, pumps the crowd up, people are excited, boom, great moment for WrestleMania. And I think that'd be awesome. I think that would be a freaking awesome moment. I don't see how else I would fit them in, unless they're going to do just a random, odd appearance for some reason, or they even save it for after WrestleMania. But I think they'd be missing a big moment, if they didn't do it at WrestleMania. Other appearances, Rob Van Dam's been rumored that he might be coming back. Like I said, I think him in the Battle Royal would be good. The Rock, I think The Rock will be there. Obviously, Florida is his home state, I believe. So I have no doubt in my mind he'll probably make an appearance. Hopefully it's not as dragged out and shitty as last year. So just hopefully, he might come out and do some kind of promo. Austin, I think he'll be there. He's been there the last few ones. I know he said that he's not going yet. Hasn't been asked to go. I think he'll be going. Hogan, I don't think so. I think he's even come out and said he won't be there. Personally, if his music hit, I'd be pretty excited. I just watched on 2005 WWE. I watched Hulk Hogan just after WrestleMania. It was he came out and helped Shawn Michaels and announced that he was going to be Shawn Michaels' partner for Backlash. And the reaction he got at Madison Square Garden was just unbelievable, out of this world. It was amazing. So you got to look past Hogan, and you kind of just got to appreciate what he's done for the wrestling world, who he is, what he's accomplished. Forgive him. Let's move on. He did some bad things, haven't we all? Let's move on, and let's welcome him back. So if he came back at WrestleMania, I'm not a huge Hogan fan in 2017, but I think it'd be cool. So any other appearances? I think HBK probably will do something. Like I said, maybe involve Triple H match. Kurt Angle, will he appear? Well, he's going to appear. because the Hall of Famers always come out to the stage, so he will be on WrestleMania, so he will appear. Same with DDP and the rest of them. So he will be on WrestleMania, so he'll appear, and hopefully the crowd give him a big "you suck" chant. And we all know that doesn't mean he sucks, but that's just because what you do. So I think that'd be great. I think that'd be a great man for Kurt, and his first on-screen appearance in WWE. If you don't want to include the Hall of Fame, that is. One little note before we get into NXT TakeOver: the Raw ratings this week heavily down, 500,000 viewers less this year compared to last year's Raw before WrestleMania. So it just goes to show the lack of interest and how ratings are changing. And when I talk about ratings, I'm not going to go into this too much, but ratings, and people say, the change in media, the change, so many ways of watching Raw, as an excuse, and people kind of downplay that and saying, oh, that's just an excuse, blah, blah, blah. I think legitimately that is a very reasonable excuse, because for me, if I didn't have to do, some weeks I would like to just go on YouTube and check out some clips, and there's sometimes I'm interested in what's happening on Raw, but it's not must see. Raw's not must see. It's not, oh my god, I have to tune in. If I miss Raw and I catch up tomorrow, well, oh well. I can catch up. I can watch it online. I can see it on YouTube. I can do all these different ways of watching it, and because it's not must see, and because there's so many different variable ways of watching it, that's why ratings are going down. I think you'll find in the next 5-10 years that ratings across the board will be very, very heavily down. Especially wrestling, just because people make it very accessible to watch all wrestling, and that's not WWE's fault. That's just what people do online. All right, so NXT Takeover. Well, we haven't really been following NXT. I watch NXT Takeovers. I always watch Takeover, but I don't necessarily watch the week-to-week stuff. So we'll quickly run through the NXT Takeover card. This is what when I Googled it, this is the card I got. It could be different, could be a few additions, I don't know, but this is what I'm assuming the card is going to be. Dillinger Strong, No Way Jose, Ruby Riott versus Eric Young. Is it Killian Dane? I know it's Big Damo, but I don't know his new name. Alexander Wolf and Nikki Cross. So Ruby Riott, I think, has just recently debuted on NXT, and she's got a bit of a different look to her, so that's interesting. We'll see how she goes. I think the right call here would probably see Sanity win. I think they're the actual group, the actual stable, whereas the other teams are makeshift teams. So to make Sanity continue building momentum, I would probably have them get this win here. Probably have Eric Young get the pin just to make him look even better. Probably let No Way Jose take the fall. Aleister Black versus Andrade Cien Almas. Well, I don't know if this is his debut, but they've been hyping him up, so I think Black will definitely win. Triple threat elimination match for the tag titles. Revival versus DIY versus the Authors of Pain. This should be a good match. This will be a good one. Good teams there. I think the Authors of Pain will win because they're the team they're building up towards. I think the Revival will debut after WrestleMania on the main roster, so I think this will be their last time in NXT, and they're going to keep on pushing the Authors of Pain. Women's Championship, Ember Moon versus Asuka. Well, this is one I find interesting. Asuka's still undefeated as far as I know. When I looked at Ember Moon, I always said that she may be the one to end that winning streak. And I feel like now is the time for Asuka to get called up to the main roster. I think now is the right time. I think there's an opportunity for her to go on Raw and, kickstart herself there. Her on SmackDown I don't think is needed because I think SmackDown's doing just as good without, the insertion of Asuka. Mickie James, they've just put her in there, so, Alexa Bliss is doing good, Naomi's back, Nikki Bella and Natalya, they're all doing fine. So I think Raw needs someone new, and someone new who's good. I think so. I'd be having Asuka move up. Now, I wouldn't mind seeing Asuka move up with the belt, with the NXT belt, but Ember Moon would probably be the right opponent for her to lose it to, if she has to lose. Maybe you move her up and she moves up undefeated. She vacates the title. Maybe that's the way to go about it. And that way you don't have her take the loss, and she comes in to the main roster undefeated after a couple of years in NXT. But then you kind of back yourself in a corner there. Well, she's going to have to beat everyone she comes up against because, you'd expect her to do so. So we'll see. But I think that might be, if Ember wins, that's fine. But the other alternative would be Asuka vacates, moves up to main roster, and goes from there. And the main event, NXT title, Nakamura versus Bobby Roode. I think it's a given that Bobby Roode's going to win. I think that's the right way to go. There possibly might be a debut or some involvement. Maybe they put Cassie Sono in there somehow, or someone else debuts just to kind of add some excitement to this one. Because I think it's a bit of a given that Roode may win. And that's off the assumption that Nakamura gets the call-up. Now, is that a given? No. And I look at Nakamura very similar to Finn Balor. If I see Nakamura get the call-up, I want him at the top, champion very, very soon. I want him to be the man straight away. So, if they need to wait for the right time for him to go up, that's fair enough. But I think Nakamura probably should go to SmackDown and probably should just be straight away hot-shotted to the top. So, this is the perfect time for Nakamura to go up. If he's going to go up in the next 6 months, now will be the time. So, having him lose to Bobby Roode will probably be the right way to go. And Bobby Roode's great. He's my favorite at the moment. So, he's terrific. So, him winning will be fine. Won't hurt Nakamura. And then go from there. So, NXT looking pretty good. A couple of matches there I think will be great. So, that tag match. The big 3 title matches should be good. So, looking forward to seeing that one. And final note, before we get into our questions, before we end the show, we're going to do a bit extended show this week because it's WrestleMania, of course. The Raw after WrestleMania. Now, as we just said a moment ago, potential debutantes and returns. What can I expect to see? And potentially some of this could happen on SmackDown too, but I'm just going to assume that this all happens on Raw, just for the ease of conversation. I think without a doubt, if Finn Balor does not show up at WrestleMania, which I think is possible, I would personally, if Lesnar wins the championship, I would have Finn Balor come out after Lesnar wins and confront Brock Lesnar. Because people, I feel like, are going to be not happy with that main event match regardless. And if you want a way to get out of that and move on past that match and have people ignore that and kind of recover the crowd a little bit, send Finn Balor out there. He confronts Lesnar because, of course, Finn Balor lost the title. He lost the title without getting beat. He had to relinquish it, so he never lost it officially. So, Finn Balor should be straight away in the Universal title picture. And I guess you could wait until after WrestleMania to do it, to give that big exciting moment to Raw. But WrestleMania should be the time that these big things take place. And I think if the crowd is negative towards Lesnar, send him out. If the crowd is okay, maybe just, end the show. So it might be something they might have to call on the spot. Have that plan in the back of their hand, up their sleeve, in the back of their mind, and if they need to, they can go to it. If not, stick to it and have Balor return after WrestleMania. Lesnar might open the show up, Paul Heyman cutting a promo, Balor comes out, you do that there. And that way you kick off the Raw WrestleMania, with a strong start. Obviously WrestleMania is already, it's done and dusted by the end of that, that main event. So you don't necessarily need to have that big moment take place. You could save it, but it depends on how the crowd is going. So I think Finn Balor is definitely something about WrestleMania or the Raw after Mania. Kurt Angle, as I said, will be on WrestleMania. Now, will he be on the Raw after Mania? Will he be the next GM? I'm going to say yes. I think that's where I see him going. I think they'll gauge the reaction that he gets at WrestleMania and at the Hall of Fame. I think it's going to be tremendous. I think the crowd are going to give him so much respect. I think he's going to be just beloved, and I hope so, because Kurt Angle deserves it. As I've been saying the last few weeks, I'm watching 05 WWE, and he's on top of the world at the moment. He's having great matches. Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle, oh my God, what a great match. His promos, everything he's doing right then, it was gold. And it's just a reminder for me of how good Kurt Angle was. Because sometimes you forget, because we haven't seen him on WWE for a while, and you forget how good this guy was. And still, he could still go. So I think he deserves respect, and deserves his place back in the WWE full time. Asuka, as I said, I would like to see her come up. Ty Dillinger, I think he's done everything he can do in NXT. He's been there long enough now. He's put enough years in. He's got a gimmick that's working. He's over. Personally, I'd have him go to SmackDown because their mid-card is really lacking. So him going to SmackDown, he could be a challenger to Baron Corbin. He can kind of insert him there, Ty Dillinger and Dolph Ziggler would be a nice rivalry as well. So you can get Dillinger there. There's room for him to grow and develop and get himself over on SmackDown. There's definite room there. Whereas on Raw, yes, it's 3 hours, and yes, you feel like you're watching the same shit all the time. Yes, but still, there's, they've just put in Samoa Joe. They're still working on Sami Zayn. They're still pushing Strowman. Kevin Owens needs his spot. So there's a few guys that will obviously be way ahead of Dillinger all the time. Whereas on SmackDown, well, who's in the mid card? You got Apollo Crews, you got Kalisto, Ziggler, Baron Corbin, even Ambrose, I guess, but he's going to be moving up for sure. Not a lot of guys there, and I would put Dillinger above Kalisto and Crews, and maybe even Ziggler. So he's got to go to SmackDown. Nakamura again as well. Look, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to get the call up. I would like to see it. I think we'd all love to see him get the call. But they may wait until there's a bigger moment. Wait until there's a spot, there's an opening. Maybe in a few months' time, when they've, Bray Wyatt's doing nothing, or Lesnar's doing. I don't know. They may wait until there's an opportune time rather than just have him debut by default. I think they may wait until there's a bigger moment. And the Revival, I think they've got to move up. I think that NXT Tag Division is going okay. They've added some new tag teams. They'll be okay for a while without them, but SmackDown is not doing okay. The Usos, American Alpha, that's it. Like we said, the Hardy Boys get injected there. The Hardy Boys and Revival would be tremendous. I think the Revival would fit just perfectly. And even if the Hardys don't go to SmackDown, that would be a great way just to salvage and help SmackDown out tremendously in their tag division, because right now they're really struggling there. And Revival would be a great short-term and long-term fix. I think they will be tag champs sometime in the future. So that's it. So that's the Raw WrestleMania. Some of those things, like I said, could happen on SmackDown, but hopefully some big returns. Potentially Rob Van Dam might show up as well. We've been hearing rumors. I'm not sure what Shelton Benjamin, his timeline is. He could be around. He might be a chance. So a few things that could happen there. So kind of, obviously we might get very disappointed, but hopefully something takes place. So hopefully the Raw after WrestleMania is still as good as it has been in years gone by, and they aren't, they're not. Hopefully they're still trying. Hopefully they're still, they're not phoning it in. Is what I was trying to say. So they're not, not using the reputation that it's got and not maximizing and capitalizing on the reputation that it has. All right, so we have some questions before we wrap up the show, so we'll get straight into them. All right, so the first one is from Adam Lawton. This is moving away from WrestleMania for a little bit. He's talking about WWE 2K18. What five new superstars would I like to see? I'd like to see everyone from NXT in the game. Every person who has appeared on TV in the last year, who's under contract for the WWE, I would like to see them in the game. I think that's what it needs to be, as many people as they possibly can as possible. Another question from him is, should they bring back GM mode? Yes. And who would I like to be on the cover of the game, and why? Well, typically they pick, obviously, part-time guys, notable guys, but I wouldn't mind seeing multiple guys this year. AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns. I wouldn't mind seeing a few guys. I think Reigns has been on one, hasn't he? So maybe not him. So multiple guys that haven't been on the cover, and kind of express that, hey, there's some new guys in WWE at the moment, and not just, oh, look, it's Cena, it's The Rock, etc. So something different. Cameron Fox, if the Andre the Giant was alive, would you book him to win the Andre the Giant Battle Royal? Well, yeah. Look, if Andre the Giant had been in a Royal Rumble, I don't think he was in one. But if he was in the Rumble, you would never be able to believe that he could get eliminated, because he was just a monster. He would just throw everyone out. You'd have to book him to win. You couldn't have him in a Battle Royal or a Rumble without him winning. You just could never imagine getting eliminated unless the whole Rumble eliminated the guy. Caleb Allen, he's talking about Universe Mode. Are you ever going to do another Survivor Series draft? Well, probably. I think we probably will do another mini draft, or I think there's going to be some more trades on Universe Mode this season. We just did the WWE draft for the year, so there's obviously been a lot of changes. So when there's a time where I feel like we need to spice the roster up, which is what happened last year at Survivor Series. I think we needed to spice the roster up. It was the right time. So it's all about timing. If it's the right time, we will. If it's not, then we won't. So we'll see. If I could book the main event of WrestleMania, what would I book from Cameron Fox? I probably would have AJ Styles in there. Definitely, I think I would probably pick my best two workers right now. Because if I'm going to have a main event WrestleMania, I want it to be the best match on the card. Not just the biggest names in the match. I want it to be the best match on the card. So if that is AJ Styles and Seth Rollins, then so be it. You know, I want to have the best match I possibly can on the card as my main event, because I want people to leave WrestleMania going, wow, that was great. You know, I want to, wow, that last match was awesome. I want them to leave and end WrestleMania on a high note instead of a down note, which has been the case for the last few years, except I guess maybe WrestleMania 31. You know, so last year's WrestleMania was a big downer. 31 was awesome. And so, what was 30 again? 30 was great too, with Daniel Bryan winning. So, they've had a few hits. They've had a couple misses as well. So, we'll see. But the best match on the card should be the last one and end it on a high note. Cameron Fox, how do I feel about Neville and Austin Aries on the pre-show at Mania? It doesn't matter. You know, it does not matter at all. It's not a big deal. I think the pre-show, it's the same as a lot of people are watching pre-show. You know, I think if it gives them more time, then so be it. I don't think it really matters. I think it's better than them. It's better for them to be on the pre-show than to be a piss break match in between Undertaker and Shane McMahon and AJ Styles on the main show, because there's a lot of big matches on the WrestleMania. There's 5-6 big matches there that, you know, they're going to have to probably put the women's match in between or do something to kind of space it out a little bit, because they don't have that type of match to really space it out too much. So that's probably where Austin Aries and Neville would have been. So this has probably ended up being better for them. I think they'll space it out this year with more backstage stuff, more promos, video packages. I think there's even a musical performance as well. So, you know, legend segments. So expect more of that this year to space the matches out rather than that piss break filler match. Next one is coming from Jonathan McDonald. Do you think WWE should put tag teams on one brand and all the women on the other? No. I think you need tag teams on both brands. And I think women on one brand would probably be the right call. I mean, I do that in my Universe mode, but they've got probably enough women to kind of justify having two brands at this point. Certainly SmackDown, I think, is fine. Raw, it's the same for women over and over. So I think they really need to fix that big time. I know they always say Raw's got the better division because they've got the bigger names. Well, I'm sorry, I enjoy the SmackDown division a hell of a lot more. Variety and the women that are on there entertain me more. Their promos are better, the characters are better. So, would the women's division be terrific? If it was all on one brand? Yes. Imagine SmackDown's women and the Raw women combined. It would be terrific. We'd be having so many great matches. The quality would be so much better. And then you could put the cruiserweights on the other brand, like they used to do. So I think it would probably work better. And the final question, coming from Jonathan McDonald again, it's to do with W2K18 again. 2K were to bring back GM mode and W2K18. Would you be okay with it being the same kind of design but better graphics? Basically, I guess what I'm interpreting from that is, would I be okay with it being very similar, the GM mode being exactly the same as it used to be, just, you know, updated graphics and rosters and things like that? No, I wouldn't be. I want it to be better. I want it to evolve. You know, I did a video a couple of years ago with my ideas on how to bring back GM mode. I really believe those ideas were terrific. I'm not toot my own horn, but I really believe those ideas would be great to see. They need to be more in depth. They need, you know, have NXT play a big part. Even independent guys, you know, they need to have more creative, more customizable options and more ways for you to make it your own. A bit like Universe Mode, but with GM mode components. So I made a video about it on my channel a couple of years ago. I still think the ideas are pretty relevant, so if you want to check that out, make sure you do so. And that is it for this week's edition of the podcast, the WrestleMania edition. I'm on the fence about whether I'm going to do a WrestleMania post-show. I think I might do a special post-show edition, because obviously there's going to be so much to talk about WrestleMania. If I talk about it on Thursday, there's already going to be Raw and SmackDown since, so it's going to be so out of date, and it's going to be a hell of a lot to cover. So I think I'm heavily considering doing a post-show, maybe even doing it live as soon as WrestleMania ends, going live on my channel and chatting WrestleMania. So that's something I might consider doing, and we'll have to wait and see whether or not I do it or not. I think it's a pretty strong possibility that I will, so keep an eye out for that. And everything else I'm doing, there's not a lot much else going on. So follow me on Twitter at Brendan Plays. Leave a like on the Facebook page, Brendan Plays. NXT Takeover from myself. I don't think I'm going to do it live because I feel like there's so much going on. It's WrestleMania weekend, so I don't want to kind of force you guys to... I'm not forcing you, but, make you watch another thing live. But I think I will upload the NXT Takeover special this weekend. So the final episode of NXT will probably go up tomorrow, and then we'll have the Takeover edition up on the weekend sometime, probably on Saturday or Sunday. So we'll do that, and I don't want to kind of, it's going to be difficult uploading this weekend because it's like, well, everyone's focusing on WrestleMania, so I don't really want to kind of overburden you guys with too much content. So probably won't be a lot of videos from me until the start of the next week, until WrestleMania is kind of done with. Just to kind of give you guys a break, and I'm personally going to be watching all that content too, so I don't want to kind of expect you guys to watch my videos at the same time. I don't expect that, so I appreciate you guys listening into the podcast. Make sure you listen around. This is a great time to kind of get everyone's insight into WrestleMania. Tell me what you think. What's going to happen at WrestleMania? Is you agreed? Who do you think is going to show up? Let me know in the comments. And leave a question. I know probably all next week's discussion is going to be about what's happening on Raw and SmackDown next week. So if you want to leave a question, keep an eye out on the Facebook page, BrendanPlays.com. Facebook.com/BrendanPlays, and also on the forums, BrendanPlays.com/forums. We're going to be doing a live WrestleMania discussion and NXT Takeover discussion. So on my chat room, we're going to be having everyone there. We're going to chat WrestleMania and chat NXT TakeOver live whilst it's happening. So make sure you do not miss that. Sign up to the forums. It's absolutely free, and join in. It's so much fun. We haven't done it for a while, and I want to bring it back. I want to do it again. So this weekend, this WrestleMania TakeOver as well, we're going to chat WrestleMania. We're going to chat TakeOver live on the chat and kind of talk about it whilst it's happening. It's going to be lots of fun. So make sure you're there for that. And that is basically it from me. So thank you very much for listening in. Enjoy WrestleMania, enjoy the week, and I will see you all at most likely after WrestleMania, if not next Thursday.